Good morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff, coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We do have a busy show coming up for you today. Civic Media News Director Shally Pittman joining us after the 9:30 news. Of course, Governor Evers announcing last week he will not seek a third term. We have two names. One is in, another one is expected to jump in, but there's some other people in the background yet that we are expecting to make announcements. So Shally will be talking about that along with many other things related to state politics in Wisconsin. Hour number 2. He is the new chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. Devin Remaker is going to join us. Looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Haven't had a chance to talk to him yet since he slid into the spot that was held by Ben Wickler very successfully for a long time. So we will talk to Devin Remaker and find out what his vision is going forward. We have some important elections coming up.
Just a few.
Just several hundred. It's fine. It's all going to be fine. At 10:30... Friday's audio sorbet was about losing your car in a parking lot or a parking ramp.
And you thought you were the only one.
I was really relieved to know I was not the only one. And then we had an email come in that came in just after the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of an addendum to the earlier audio sorbet. So we're going to do an update with that. And again, I know there are more stories out there about people who have lost their cars.
Yes, just like Wisconsin, Jane, you're among friends.
I'm among friends, exactly. So if you would like to share your story about losing your vehicle, parking ramp, parking garage, maybe just on your block, I don't know, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I left it somewhere.
I left it somewhere.
Was here a moment ago.
My car was right there. And you're like, nope, it's parked over there.
So that's coming up after 10:35, and then we'll wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today, it's the extra padding edition. It's a good one. Stick around for that. I wanted to congratulate. I saw this on the text line over the weekend because I check the text line over the weekend because I'm nosy.
Yeah. You want to know what's going on. You want to know the haps.
The haps. What are the haps?
What's the skinny?
Shout out to Jim from Brookfield.
Yeah.
Jim and his wife picked up those tickets for Wednesday's game as part of Free Ticket Friday. Yep. So Jim from Brookfield and his wife got those tickets. Brewers club level seat tickets for Wednesday's game when the Brewers host the Cubbies. Should be a really good game.
Jim, if you're going, I'm sure you're going with friends, take a picture, take some pictures, and text them to us via the Civic Media app. That's the great thing about the app is you can call us, text us, leave a voice note, and you can send us those pictures if you with your seats and the fun you're having because we'd love to know. And if you are a Brewers fan right now, this is going to be an anxiety-ridden series because the Brewers didn't do so hot this weekend,
right?
And they lost their lead in first place, so it's like neck and neck, and it's neck and neck between first and second place of the Central Division. So it's going to be crazy. And when the Cubs fans are in town, it's always an extra layer of awesome.
Yeah, I'm taking a different approach to this. I think the Brewers intentionally held back over the weekend because they're saving up their good stuff for this series against the Cubs. That's what I am choosing to look at this.
Your conspiracy theories are weird.
And we're going to get to conspiracy theories, too, a little bit later on. But I wanted to start off with this, and this is from WPR. Greg and I were talking about this off the air. From Corinne Hess has the byline, UW Extension's Food-Wise Nutrition Education Program shutting down after federal funds eliminated. More than 90 people now losing their jobs with the 30-year-old program. We were told that there were not going to be any nutritional cuts. There would be no cuts to SNAP, no cuts to all of these things. Well, this is kind of this educational thing is part of all of those.
It's referred to as SNAP Ed.
Yeah. Right. The National Education and Obesity Prevention Grant Program, their funding ends at the end of September. For more than 3 decades, this program called FoodWise has been providing people with nutrition education, community-based strategies to support healthy eating. Because we've talked about this a lot. It's much easier to do things in advance to protect your health rather than wait until you get sick.
Absolutely. Proactive is always better.
Yes.
It's always better.
Proactive is better than reactive.
Yes.
So this program has been reaching over 133,000 people. It's been a big help across the state, and it is tied into other programs like Food Right, Hunger Task Force, which is a huge program here in southeastern Wisconsin, and I've talked to them numerous times over the decades. The need for assistance isn't going down.
No.
It's not.
No. The need isn't going down. 1 in 7 people struggle with finding the right nutrition. Many of those people, and those are children
and elderly
people, and it is baffling to me that this program would be cut. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It's baffling to me that the funding to this program would be cut. These are jobs. This is a good service. This has to do with SNAP. And I mean, what it makes me think of immediately, and I can't think of the exact name and the acronym, is the program which paid farmers to grow food and then take that food to local food banks. That funding was also cut. I don't understand how this makes any sense. This does nothing but good for the people. It helps people, and they said, nah.
Yeah, we don't have the money for that. Food Right educates more than 1,200 MPS students on how to cook and appreciate affordable, whole food, plant-based meals. There's a lot of just basic nutritional stuff that a lot of us don't have.
Yes.
And could use a little education about.
Yeah. I have access to food. I have the ability to go to the grocery store right now. I could use this program.
Right.
This is not just about, honestly, these programs aren't just about helping those who suffer with food insecurity or getting nutritious meals. It's an educational program that can help us all as far as making the best meals possible to stay healthy. So, this is another thing that's the victim of the big bill for billionaires, and exactly so, because in a statement released by Tammy Baldwin, Gwen Moore, Mark Pocan, and Tony Evers, they said, sadly, we are watching vital resources that Wisconsin families rely on to stay healthy and help put food on their table being stripped away. Also, Republicans in Congress and President Trump can give out tax breaks to the wealthy. And that's what it is.
Pretty much.
Never forget that, too. There is no version of cutting this program or the farming program or anything else that deals with nutrition or helping people find food that is, those cuts can't be spun as patriotic, helping America, making America great again. No, none of those things. It's because they have to find the money they so desperately need, because Doge didn't do the job.
Yeah.
They need to find the money, and so they're just going to cut everything. And they're going to cut it from the people who have the least amount of power and the least amount of voice.
Absolutely. And the ones who need it the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I know you're not wrong.
Derek Van Orden.
Yes.
Who sits on the Agriculture Committee, correct?
The congressman of the 3rd District.
Yeah. He took great issue when this came up months ago.
Yeah.
That these cuts were going to be affecting the SNAP program and associated programs. And as he always does, Derek Van Orden remained calm.
Yep.
Completely composed. Professional. When this came up, I believe there is a clip, Calvin.
Yes.
From Derek Van Orden talking about cuts to SNAP. Can we play that well-composed clip from Mr. Van Orden, please? No problem. We're talking about an article in WPR this morning about UW Extension's Food-Wise Nutrition Education Program is being cut. And this affects Hunger Task Force, a whole bunch of other programs that are tied into this. All right, now we have that clip ready from Derek Van Orden talking about cuts to SNAP. Let's hear it, please.
I want to clear the air, and I'm going to dispel some things. If you're receiving benefits from the federal government lawfully as an American citizen, your benefits are not going to be reduced by a nickel.
By a nickel.
Okay, I'm going to say that again. If you're an American citizen that is lawfully receiving benefits from the federal government, your benefits will not be reduced by a nickel. Write that down. Okay?
Write it down.
I was raised in abject rural poverty by a single mother. We were on welfare, food stamps, where you had a stamp, stick it on a card, go to the grocery store. I had subsidized lunches and government cheese. I was the hungry child that my colleagues are talking about, okay? Things have changed. And the same people that told you during the last budgetary cycle that Republicans are going to cut Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, WIC, SNAP, they lied to you.
Really?
They lied openly to the American public.
What did they do?
They're the same people that lied to you and are fear-mongering with hungry children and those most in need in our country. And it's unacceptable and it's despicable.
Please don't yell.
This should be a nonpartisan committee. They're lying.
He yelled.
I'm over it.
Okay.
Stop it.
Ooh.
I always love how when he gets revved up, his final words are always something very like, knock it off. Just stop it. That is Derek Van Orden sitting in front of a group of people on video lying to you, lying through his teeth, lying about SNAP, WIC, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. They're all being cut. And because of those cuts that he voted for 3 times, SNAP benefits are being cut. And because of that, this program's being cut. And you grew up in rural, abject poverty.
You should know better.
Why are you not the first person on the front line fighting for them to have these benefits?
And while we can't afford nutritional programs, you know what we can't afford?
What, Jane?
You know what's in that big budget for billionaires?
What's that?
$45 million for that statue of heroes.
Oh, boy, can't wait.
They managed to keep that in the budget because that's really important.
Do you know what we had money for, Jane?
What?
$45 million as well for a parade.
A parade.
A big birthday parade.
And we also had another $10 million so the president of our country could go golfing over the weekend in Scotland.
And cheat.
And, well, yeah, there's video of that, too. That's a whole nother, we don't even have time to go down that road.
I'm never going to let up on this because, look, he's a Republican. That doesn't mean he's... I don't disagree with him because he's a Republican. I disagree with him because he's doing terrible things and lying about it. He is not helping the people he says he's going to help. He sits on the Ag Committee. The Farm Bill is 2 years behind.
Yes.
He does nothing to help anybody. And when you ask him a question, he gets angry. And there is video proof on many occasions of him not being able to handle being questioned because he doesn't like his authority questioned. Well, guess what, folks? He voted 3 times to cut funding for all of these programs, which he said specifically SNAP, would not go down, quote, a nickel.
Troy and Mount Horeb just texted in listening on WLAK. Van Orden is right. They aren't being reduced by a nickel, but by lots and lots and lots of nickels. And Casper in Madison also texting in, also tax cuts for billionaires. Yep, we got money for that.
Oh, yeah.
And $45 million for a Garden of Heroes. But hungry kids, yeah, well... Go in the fields. There's things to pick, kids.
Yes.
Come on, where's your motivation? When we return, he's still dead and he's still being a pain in the neck. That's all on the way. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You just don't know what else to do about it. can still remember.
Good morning and welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. After the 9:30 news, we're going to be joined by Civic Media's news director, Shally Pittman, just for an update on what happened over the weekend. Of course, Governor Evers announcing last week he will not be seeking a third term. And we do know at least one person, Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, has already announced that she's in the race. We are highly expecting Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley to announce in the next couple of weeks. But we will talk about others who might also be joining the field, and on the Republican side as well, because we have a couple candidates now who have already announced. Jean from Eau Claire is on the line. Good morning, Jean. Thanks for joining us. What's up?
Hi. Thank you for getting the information out to the people on our side. That guy, Van Orden, is a bully.
He is.
Yes.
And he is not being paid to bully his constituents. He's there to work for them. And I am sick of that guy. And God darn it, everybody in our area needs to get and vote that son of a gun out because he is a bully. He thinks he orders things and you have to listen. I'm sick of that kind of representation, and guys, get ready to vote for the candidate that you want to fill his position, and that's all I got to say.
Jean, hang on for a second. Jean, hang on for just 1 second, because I'm curious, because you live in that area, you live in western Wisconsin. Are other folks as tired of DVO as you are, or are they just unaware of the stuff that he pulls?
I think a lot of them are unaware of the stuff that he pulls because he goes on TV. He sends his own, clips to the television for the news, all the stuff that he's doing. And whenever stuff comes out about him, they always have a response, and it's just sickening. So keep up the honesty and integrity because people can't put up with this kind of stuff anymore. We're going to where in a handbasket. So thanks, guys. Thank you very much for the work you do. Keep working.
Thanks so
Bye-bye.
much, Jean. Really
Thanks, Jean.
appreciate it. You can always join us as well at 855-752-4842. If you would like to call in, text in. You can also text in directly via the Civic Media app, which is absolutely free. And if you don't have it yet, you should download it. We don't have a lot of time to spend on this, but it's just because he won't go away.
Yeah.
As much as Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and the President of the United States Donald Trump and all these other Republicans would really just like Jeffrey Epstein to stay dead and go away, he's not going away.
No.
When Donald Trump landed in Scotland over the weekend, this was among the first questions he was asked. Mike Johnson, of course, the Speaker of the House, adjourning the House a day early in order to avoid a vote on bringing a vote up that would require the release of the Epstein files.
Even though to CBS Mornings, he did say to the interviewer that he believes in transparency, that we need to know about what's going on, and that justice must be sought for those who are surviving this terrible, terrible thing.
Mike Johnson said that.
Mike Johnson, that we played a clip. And then he said he knows nothing about it.
I know nothing.
I've never seen the report. He's only the third most powerful guy in the United States.
Not his lane.
No.
Not his lane. There was something that happened over the weekend that really jumped out at me that I think is worth highlighting. We have a clip from Jake Tapper interviewing Mark Wayne Mullen over the weekend, and the Epstein report came up. Calvin, play that clip, please.
But remember, there was a plea deal that was struck in 2009, way before I was in office, way before Trump was even considering to be in office, way before Pam Bondi was in office, way before Kash Patel was director. 2009, there was a sweetheart plea deal that was made underneath the Obama administration with Epstein, and that sweetheart has not been exposed.
No, it was 2000.
Not? Well, when was the case heard?
It was 2008. Yeah. It was the U.S. attorney at the time was a guy named Alex Acosta.
Yep.
He was a Bush appointee.
Yep.
He went on to become President Trump's Secretary of Labor. It all took place in 2008.
Who was in office at the time?
2008, George W. Bush.
Who was in office at the time?
George W. Bush.
No, 2009 is when the case came out, and it was, and Obama was in office at the time.
It's not true. But let me ask you a question.
That's enough. Yeah. Sorry, Mark Wayne, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And Alex Acosta, I don't understand why we're not subpoenaing Alex Acosta. who, again, is the one who gave Jeffrey Epstein that remarkably lenient deal in 2008. Incredibly lenient
2008, when he
deal.
was the U.S. attorney under George W.
Under
Bush.
George W. Bush,
Yeah.
yes. And then Alex Acosta went on to join the Trump administration. Epstein was arrested under the Trump administration. Bill Barr, the attorney general under Donald Trump, is the one who searched all of Epstein's properties.
Yeah.
Why aren't we subpoenaing him?
Well, are we subpoenaing? That's a really hard word to say. By the
That might not even be a word.
Yeah. Why have we not subpoenaed?
Thank you.
Anyone? I don't feel like we are doing that for anyone right now. I feel like they're closing down shop. They're leaving. They're not coming back until September, folks.
They really want us to forget about this.
And I beg the MAGA listeners who are listening to us right now, cursing our names and calling me names. I know you do. Don't let up on this. I know this was a concern of yours. And I said last week, liberals, Democrats, independents, we agree. We got your back on this one. Don't let up the fight. We're here to fight with you on this matter. We can come together on this, that at least we should know whose names are on that list, regardless of party.
And then this morning, this happened 23 minutes ago. This is on Twitter. Donald Trump in Scotland. Trump on Epstein, quote, "I never went to the island. Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never had the privilege of going to the island," unquote. What a privilege. What a privilege.
No thanks.
We have news coming up next. When we return, Civic Media's news director, Shali Pittman, will be joining us. Stay close. You're listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You sunshine now and your whole life through. Rain, rain, go away. Tomorrow is her wedding day. Rain, rain, go away. Bring my love a sunny day.
Good morning, Shali. Can you hear me all right?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep, you sound good.
Great. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Sweet Calby on the board. Coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. An hour from now, after the 10:30 news, our segment called Audio Sorbet, where we try and lighten things up, get away a little bit from the news. Just to take a breathing break, little cleansing for your brain. Audio Sorbet coming up next hour, and we're going to have a Audio Sorbet follow-up from Friday. Our guest is Shally Pittman. She's Civic Media's news director, and you were with us last week, Shally, when we had our all-host meeting in Madison. And after our meeting was done, I couldn't find my car in that parking lot for 40 minutes.
I'm not surprised. It took me a month to figure that out.
Thank you.
I told you you weren't. Shally, we will get to the important news of the day, but let's talk about something even more important. The fact that Jane, for a moment, thought that she was the only person on earth who had ever done this.
No.
And I feel like you think that no one's been to the airport before.
It's challenging because there are multiple entrances and exits, and they don't line up. You lose what level of the parking garage you're on. I completely understand. And I will say that the parking garage is actually a great hangout right outside the Civic Media offices. I like to sit out there and do work. So.
Well, next time I'm trapped in there, I'll just keep shouting to that area, and hopefully someone will hear me. Yeah, I'm using my key fob, and the sound is bouncing all over the walls. Anyway, so we had a follow-up email that came in after we did Audio Sorbet last Friday. This is involving a snowstorm and a vehicle. So we'll do a little update with that. It's good.
Audio Sorbet, the addendums edition.
The addendum edition. Right now, though, we're going to put, our attention back on actually important things happening in the world. That's why Shally is here. Big news, of course, last week, Shally, was Governor Evers announcing he is not seeking a third term. We do know that Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez had a really strong video, I thought, coming out of the gate. And Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley has also hinted that he will be formally announcing in the next couple of weeks. Where are we with some other potential Democrats entering this race?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's been a lot of turnaround in the last, 5 days? So Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, a day after Governor Tony Evers announced he won't be running for a third term, did come out with this kind of punchy video where she gave her life story in about 3 minutes. Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley also said he would be taking steps toward entering the race for governor. He said in a press release, the stakes are simply too high to sit on the sidelines. But there are many other people considering a run. If you remember when Governor Evers first ran for office, there were 10 people on the ballot for Democratic?
I had forgotten that there were that many, but yeah, there was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Including where I am, former Madison Mayor Paul Soglin. So that was interesting. But, I haven't called Paul, so maybe I should. There are, though, many other folks probably considering a run who we have some development on that I hope to share with you. So, in the category of folks who haven't declared but are widely assumed to be running is State Senator Kelda Roys. I called her up last week. I want to say it was Thursday. Can't quite remember. Sometime late last week. Yeah. It is wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. So here is Kelda Roys.
Nice.
And so if it's okay, if you have the clips, I asked her what she thought of the governor's announcement and where she was. So we can go ahead and play that.
Calvin, you got that clip? Here we go.
My overwhelming feeling is just gratitude for Governor Evers for not just his 2 terms of service as our governor, but his lifelong service to the state as an educator. And I think at a time when so much of our political culture is about cruelty and then the chaos and corruption that we see out of Washington, it's just been very reassuring to have such a steady, calm, kind person leading our state.
All right. And then And then I asked her the $1 million question, right? Are you considering a run? And here's what she told me. There have been kind of dribs and drabs of her appearing in the media. So, but here's what she told me.
Well, I've been, very flattered and appreciate all the folks who are reaching out to me and urging me to run for governor. It's certainly something that I'm seriously considering. But what I can say for sure is that I am going to continue spending the next year and a half traveling around the state, talking with voters, and doing everything in my power to make sure that we have a Democratic governor and a Democratic legislature in 2026.
Non-answer.
Wait.
Non-answer, but her on record saying it, so I had the tape and wanted you to use it. Also possibly considering a run, State Senator Chris Larson in the kind of lawmakers camp, which we also saw in 2018 when folks were running. Some state senators stepped up. The list, though, of possible contenders is long. We have Mandela Barnes, former lieutenant governor. We have Sarah Godlewski, Ben Wickler, although he's writing a book. Tom Nelson. So we have a bunch of names, but this is all really to say we just have to hurry up and wait for the next year plus. Another contender, though, is Attorney General Josh Kaul. He also hasn't announced, but I did see him at the state capitol on Friday during a press conference on something wholly unrelated, or maybe not. But here's what he told a scrum of reporters who descended on him outside the assembly parlor.
No comments or no announcements today, but what I can say is, first of all, the governor just made this announcement yesterday, and I do think it's important that we take a bit of time to reflect on the significance of the last 6.5 years in Wisconsin. When Governor Evers took office, our state was moving in a very different direction with attacks on workers' rights, attacks on teachers, and that has fundamentally shifted over the past 6.5 years. And I've been proud to work with Governor Evers on a number of different issues, and you can see the progress we've made on things like fighting the opioid epidemic, where we've now helped secure over $800 million that's going to go to fight that epidemic. We've worked to restore access to safe and legal abortion in the state of Wisconsin. We have fair maps in Wisconsin, and there are so many other important changes. We're also dealing with a federal administration right now that is trying to dismantle opportunity and personal security for people across the country. So I look forward to continuing to work with Governor Evers in the year and a half ahead as we work to stand up for the best interests of the people of Wisconsin.
Did the governor give you a heads up?
If you're just joining us, we are talking to Civic Media's news director, Shali Pittman, about all the breaking news from the past few days, especially over the weekend. We always miss the big news over the weekend. And that was a current Wisconsin Attorney General, Josh Kaul, making no comment, but then making a lot of comments. One, I think it's funny. He's like, it just happened. I'm like, well, Sarah Rodriguez didn't wait. Why can't you all not wait? But yes, that was a very answer, non-answer.
Well, and with all due respect to Attorney General Kaul, yes, he just announced it. We need some time to reflect on his wonderful. Oh, give me a break. There's things going on behind the scenes with all of these folks. It's not like we need to take a week and just reflect on all the wonderfulness of Governor Evers. Come on.
But for you, Shali, like this, now it's just the beginning, I imagine, of that. If there were, what, you said 10 people in the last time, I imagine.
I think on the ballot, there were even more who later dropped out before the primary. I want to take a second, though, to dissect that response from the Attorney General. For someone who hasn't announced a run, he did mention several items that are part of Tony Evers' record for sure, but that the Attorney General also had a hand in, right? The opioid lawsuits, recouping money from opioid manufacturers and distributors, abortion. We've certainly seen in the last couple of months, right? Press conferences and rulings from the state Supreme Court. So, perhaps those were strategic things to mention. But that's the news of where we are. Meanwhile, on the other side, right, on the Republican
side.
Right. We have at least two folks who are definitely in the race, you guys know, Bill Berrien and Josh Schoeman. However, we got some news yesterday that after some cryptic tweets that involved a 45 to 47 on the side of a hat, apparent allusion to the Trump presidency or the number of governors in the state, or the number 47 appears on the side of a lot of hats. Anyway, Scott Walker, former governor of Wisconsin, announced that he won't run again in 2026, at least. He said he wanted to focus on the YAF and that he didn't rule out a run ever completely in the future, but at least not for 2026.
Well, Scott Walker is a relatively young man. I mean, is he late 40s, early 50s?
I think he's early 50s now.
Yeah, so he's got time, certainly. He just misses people talking about him. I think he really, really misses being in the public eye.
He's 57.
Oh, he's 57. But isn't he making like $800,000 a year as the head of the young Republicans group that he leads? He's making pretty good bank in that job.
He's making private sector money, which is what a lot of politicians do in this situation. But it is interesting to see that he has made that clear to everyone that he's not going to be running. And if I'm not mistaken, even though they were brought up into the mix, neither Eric Hovde nor Tim Michels have said yes or no to a run for the governor as well.
Are you hearing any rumors about that, Shelley? As far as Hovde or Michels jumping back in here?
Just like in the Democratic primary, who knows what is going on and what conversations are going on behind closed doors. We also have Congressman Tom Tiffany potentially feeling out a run.
He came out with something on Twitter this morning talking about how Wisconsin's energy costs are too high. So I'm feeling like he's trying to craft his message.
Was he the one who also posted a fish photo?
That was Tom. Yes.
Yeah.
One other website said, from now on, everyone who wants to run for governor of Wisconsin must show themselves holding a fish, which Tom Tiffany responded with a picture of him ice fishing, holding a fish. And then I immediately thought, well, isn't that infringement on branding for Eric Hovde, who loves to sit in lakes? You know, this is all lake adjacent for these people. Tony on the live stream makes two very important comments. He says, I doubt Tom will run, but I very much, and it'd be a very uphill battle, but I like Tom Nelson believes in unions, workers' rights, love it. He is a gentleman who's always been in the mix here and there, but has never really made that push. And something even more important, he said, and it's true. I noticed Greg hasn't, well, hold on here. This is more of a joke here. Well, now it won't just load. There we go. I noticed Greg hasn't said no to his run for governor. That's right.
Are you just holding out until the very, very last minute?
I'm deciding whether or not I want to be a Republican or a Democrat. It depends on where the money comes from. But this, I mean, it's going to be very. We're starting, folks. We've started.
I just like the idea of a candidate coming out and saying, "Who's going to pay me more?"
Yeah.
That's the way I'll vote.
I appreciate
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Let's full disclosure. Just buy me. I'll wear your patch. We're going to continue our conversation with Civic Media's news director, Shali Pittman. Stay close. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. You're listening to the vast, statewide, countrywide. If you have the app, you can pick us up around the world. The Civic Media Radio Network.
Wait a minute, see the pieces don't fit this time.
Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvi Teeny on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can always join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. She is Civic Media's news director. Shelly Pittman is here to break down all the news we might have missed over the weekend, and there's always lots of stuff going on. And this, Shelly, I think is really important. This new task force for missing and murdered African American women, the statistics are really pretty shocking.
Staggering. Wisconsin has the most disparity across the country, according to a study for Black women aged 25 to 44 years old. According to a study in The Lancet, were 20 times more likely to be killed than white women. And those are some of the statistics that were raised at a press conference last Friday. Happy to answer questions if you want me to dive right into it. But Dane County Representative Sheila Stubbs has introduced similar legislation before to create a missing and murdered African American women task force. It hasn't gotten traction. It hasn't passed outside the legislature for a variety of reasons. She described the battle to get this passed last session when it came the closest. It didn't come out of committee, and she had to get it reassigned, and then it was never taken up for a vote in, I believe, the Senate. This task force would analyze the issue, take a look at why Black women and girls in Wisconsin have these disparities, both being killed and missing.
Yeah.
Disappearing, exactly. And at the press conference at the Capitol on Friday, there were posters of women who had been missing or killed, including, as we'll get to, the mother of Sade Robinson was also there and spoke. But this task force doesn't necessarily need the legislature, and I think that's a little bit of a nuance that's interesting. The Attorney General, Josh Kaul, whom we were just talking about, doesn't need the permission of the legislature to create his own task force. But he was asked about why go through this process, and then he had two responses. One being, look, we want the state legislature to be part and parcel of finding solutions to this crisis, and we want to be funded. We need money for one person in the State Department of Justice to coordinate this task force, to track down testimony, to get 17 members in a room, and to help prepare a report. So that's where we are. But as I said, there was very powerful personal testimony from a number of affected family members. I want to highlight Sheena Scarborough. She's the mother of Sade Robinson, who was killed last year and dismembered. Yes. And she spoke, this case received high national attention, was very high profile. The person convicted of killing her is facing a sentencing this Friday. But maybe we focus too much on the trial and not the systemic solutions out of that. And so let's hear from Sheena Scarborough, the mother of Sade Robinson, after maybe some of that media coverage has ebbed.
There weren't many other supports during this time. I didn't really have anyone to guide me through how to even understand what I'm going through. I've never even been arrested before. Like, we've never dealt with the law system. We've never dealt with law enforcement. It's been so severe all across, and it takes every layer of both ends of the table. It doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter if you are Black, Republican, Democrat, religion. It doesn't matter. These are our babies. This was my daughter. She was a granddaughter. She was a sister. She had her whole life ahead of her. My angel worked 2 jobs. She had her own apartment. She is just graduating from Milwaukee Area Technical College. She had just received her Associate of Arts degree. My youngest daughter had to walk in her honor. So many things have been taken from us. She was taken away weeks before her 20th birthday. We had so many plans and so many things to do. I've worked so hard to raise 2 beautiful, intelligent daughters, and we have done nothing but put out good into the universe, helping others, being advocates, and then for somebody to come and tragically take your child in the worst way is the worst nightmare anyone can imagine.
That's the mother of Sade Robinson, who, again, was murdered and dismembered last year in Milwaukee. And I would have to think, too, Shelly, one of the reasons why this case got so much attention is because of the horrific nature of this case.
Yeah. And Sheena Scarborough described the amount of support she got from the community and from her family, but maybe a lack of infrastructural support. And that was a theme that other speakers hit on, including Tanisha Howard, the mother of Janiyah Walker. Yeah, they're all, despite these horrible tragedies, showing up to advocate for a task force to prevent these things in the future. So you can find more at our story online at civicmedia.us.
Yep, go to civicmedia.us, click on news. Our news department is doing a great job. We got bodies on the ground all over the state. If you would like to join our news team, you can also look for jobs. Civicmedia.us. Shelly Pittman is our news director. Thank you so much, Shelly, for your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
News coming up next. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Good morning, Devin. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me all right, Devin?
I can. Sorry if I missed you.
No, you
away for a moment.
No, you're all good. You sound good too. We come back in just under 90 seconds.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Delighted to be joined by our next guest. He is the new chair of Wisconsin Democrats. Devin Remaker is joining us. Good morning, Devin. Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Lots of things going on. Of course, Governor Evers announcing last week he is not seeking a third term. We know that Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez has already entered the race. Rumors that Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley will be the next one to throw a hat in, but we are expecting numerous others. How does the party handle this going forward? How does the state party handle this going forward?
With neutrality is the simple answer. So the state party doesn't have a favorite, isn't going to support any specific candidate in the race. Ultimately, we will make sure that we abide by the neutrality required by our state party's constitution. And also, I think is in the best interest of producing a nominee that folks can rally behind once the primary is over and march onward toward the general election. So I really am looking forward to seeing how the candidates who are already being talked about, some that may come out still, engage with voters and present a vision for the future for the party and for the state of Wisconsin.
I'm curious as far as when someone is going in to take over this job as the head of the chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, one of your biggest roles, correct me if I'm wrong, is fundraising. That's got to be exhausting. I just think it must be exhausting.
Well, I actually enjoy it. So here's why. When I was in college, I worked at Sears. I sold appliances, fridges, ovens, washers, dryers, whole 9 yards. And really what it was and what sales boils down to, and I think what fundraising boils down to is helping identify a problem, the change that people want to see in the world, and then sort of presenting the solution, which is for a lot of folks, the work that we do at the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, and helping folks plug into the change that we are making that aligns with their own values and what they want to see in the world. That actually gives me a lot of energy. I enjoy it. So I have dove right in to the fundraising component of this job, in addition to all the other things that come with being chair of the party. But genuinely, I do enjoy it. And I think that there are so many people that are eager to see change in this state and across this country. And I think being able to engage with more of them over the past month and a half has really been a pleasure.
In the first in the first time, it's been about a month now that since you took over. What are the things you're doing now to establish your new leadership, talking to the standard bearers of the party, as well as just the people of Wisconsin throughout the state? Like, what are the first steps you make as the new head of the party?
So we have a lot of work to do here in Wisconsin, right? And I think that part of that is building on the infrastructure that we already have at the Democratic Party: year-round organizing, communication, fundraising. Yes, a really big part of that to make sure all that work can continue. But I do want to build upon the foundation that our former chair, Ben Wickler, laid down, and make sure that, in addition to traditional organizing, we're looking at new ways to communicate with voters. I think that knocking on doors is fantastic. It's something that we're going to keep doing, but we also need to make sure that we're in their social media feeds, in their text inboxes, and we're showing up at community events. So one thing that I am really focused on is raising the resources to stand up a 72 county strategy program, where we essentially really engage with our party units and with local activists on the ground in every county in the state to make sure that in this moment in time in which there's immense energy all over the state, that we're able to harness it and let folks know, if they're taking action for the first time through a group like Indivisible or 5051, that, hey, we're on the same side. We're fighting for the same thing. We're fighting for the same change, and make sure that they know that they also have a home here with the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. So I think that's sort of a new program that I'm hoping to stand up, in addition to, being able to talk a little bit more about my upbringing and background, coming from a working class family and growing up in a working class community, and trying to, sort of convey a message of possibility and optimism, but also as a bit of an antidote to Trumpism, where Trump has made major headway in communities like the one I grew up in. And I think just a little more firmly ingraining that in our messaging and what I bring to the chair role has been a focus of mine in the first month and a half.
If you're just joining us, Devin Remiker is our guest. He's the new chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, taking over for Ben Wickler. I know that one of Ben Wickler's big focuses was on the ground game. Devin, with the door knocking and all those things, but I think you bring up something very important, is the right has been very good at utilizing online communications.
Absolutely. Yes, they have. They had a very intentional strategy. And now I think that strategy is kind of being aided and abetted by some of these Silicon Valley billionaires that went groveling to the Trump administration as soon as he was elected. And I think that in some ways the deck is a little stacked against us. But that doesn't mean that we should step back and disengage. Whether we like it or not, folks are getting more of their news, more of their information online. And there's also more flooding it than ever before. And I think that if we want to remain competitive, it has to be an all of the above strategy. It has to be doors, it has to be phones, it has to be community events, it has to be Facebook feeds. We have to remain competitive, and we have to find messengers that actually reach people and can break through all of the noise.
One of the advantages that I think that the Republicans have, though, Devin, and there was a story about this a couple of months ago, the message is decided upon. It goes out to Fox and all the right-wing influencers. They have a whole machine built. They send one message out and it gets disseminated in 400 different ways. Do the Democrats have anything like that in place?
We're working on improving our messaging infrastructure to help not only get a message out, but make that message resonate locally. And I think that one way that we can sort of, take down Goliath here and their giant sort of machine to be able to get their message out is by making our message more resonant and more engaging than their own. And I think that a way that we do that is by localizing it and individualizing it, so that in each county or each city, folks have the information about how the things like the big awful budget are impacting them, right? If you're in the 3rd Congressional District, you can know that Derek Van Orden's vote for that bill, 30,000 people in his district could potentially lose their health care. 30,000 people could potentially lose their food assistance as well. Within his own district, there is a rural hospital in Osseo that is on the chopping block. It is one of those hospitals, right? And I think that a way that you can sort of, beat the system, which the Democratic Party of Wisconsin has really prides itself on doing, is figuring out creative ways to overcome the odds, is to just use our message that is more engaging, more localized, with messengers that actually break through to people, even if we don't own a cable news station.
Because you mentioned Derek Van Orden's district in the western part of Wisconsin, we did have a text come in a little bit earlier from Kurt in Eau Claire, who says the people that support DVO in this area think he's doing a very good job. I saw an ad on Facebook over the weekend, huge, thanking Derek Van Orden for cutting taxes in Wisconsin. I don't see much being put out by the Democrats telling us what they're doing or saying. They need to get their act together. As a senior citizen, I would like to see DVO gone. We have heard from other listeners, Devin, in particularly western Wisconsin, because of their media landscape, they get a lot of their stuff from TV in Minneapolis. And so they're kind of in an information desert, essentially. So we have had or heard more calls about spend some more money in District 3 because we're not getting all the information.
Absolutely. And, the 3rd Congressional District is a little quirky in that regard. I worked for Congressman Kine for 4 years, so I know it quite well. You actually have 4 media markets. You have Wausau, Rhinelander, Minneapolis, La Crosse, Eau Claire, and then a splash of Madison in the southwestern portion of the district. So it can be really difficult to communicate in traditional ways. But something that we did last week was we held a town hall in the city of La Crosse. Derek Van Orden, despite the fact he took the time to tweet 75 times and has been basically on a Twitter bender. I don't know when he started. He's been on it for a while, but he really ramped it up after he voted for this budget. Yet he still won't just hold a town hall. He is screwing his constituents and won't even look them in the eye after he does it or before he did it. And I think that's just a disgrace. I mean, when I worked for Congressman Ron Kind, he made it a point to go to every county every single year to have a listening session with folks. This guy's too much of a coward to leave his safe space down in Prairie du Chien to come up anywhere else in the district. And this not only was a way for folks to be able to express their feelings about his betrayal, but it also helped get our message out. And I think that we have to be a little bit scrappier, especially in a district like the 3rd, because we don't have the resources to be up everywhere year round in a place like that when you're covering 4 markets. But if we show up and we can get people excited and engaged and capture the press's attention with an event like our town hall, that does help get our message out. And I look forward to figuring out what else we can do to hold them accountable. I promise, Kurt in Eau Claire, we are going to stick it to Derek Van Orden now through Election Day.
And going back to the 72 county strategy, one of the things that's been very beneficial for the Democratic Party and Democrats and people of Wisconsin, I believe, is gaining more seats in the Assembly and the state Senate and moving forward. And we see a lot of energy coming from those who want to run and those who are, excited about what fair maps have brought the state. Devin, can you speak more about the state Senate runs, the strategy that you have going forward for at least the next cycle?
We have tremendous opportunity in 2026. This is the first time in a long time that we have the opportunity to win a trifecta, to retain the governorship, win the Senate, and win the Assembly. And I am bullish on both the Senate and the Assembly. I think that we are in the process of having candidates emerge that are going to be incredibly strong in a variety of districts in both chambers. And at the end of the day, I think that, the sort of betrayal of their constituents, a theme that I was hitting on with Derek Van Orden, is true of these folks as well. If you want to look at Howard Markline, trying to gut education funding, especially for rural schools. His community has a lot of them. Rural schools are the beating heart of many communities.
Absolutely.
It is the gathering place. It is where people go to find community. And many of them are already facing difficult decisions about cutting sports programs, about cutting band, about consolidating districts. And all of a sudden you have bus routes that take over an hour to get kids to and from school. I think that we need to hold them accountable on that. You have Rob Hutton in the Senate as well, who was part of the Foxconn boondoggle, giving them $4.5 billion in subsidies to basically plow a field and build a facility that didn't do anything. And thankfully, Governor Evers was able to make something out of nothing. And deliver a fantastic deal with Microsoft. But I think that, their sort of track record is going to really come back to bite them now that they are actually being held accountable to their voters. And I think that it's just a little unique for the Senate in some ways because these folks may not have been up before, right? Because it's staggered every 2 years. But also in the Assembly, I think that Robin Vos may be in for a bit of a surprise with just how far down his list he needs to go to defend his incumbents. We're not just going to focus on the seats that get a majority. I think we can reach deep in 2026 and hopefully have, by a resounding vote with a margin to spare, a Speaker Greta Neubauer and a Senate Leader Dianne Hasselbeck.
Devin, can you stay with us for another segment, or do you have to go?
I can stay.
Yeah. Wonderful. We're going to continue our conversation with the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Devin Remaker is our guest. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Cal B coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. He is the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, Devin Remaker. Good enough to give us and stick around for another segment. Thank you for your time, Devin. I'm sure you have several other things you need to get to, but I wanted to talk a little bit in the time that we have, and we hear from listeners around the state who live in very red counties. Wisconsin has 72 counties. What do I do if I'm a blue dot swimming in a sea of red? Who do I reach out to if I would like to get to talk to someone in the Democratic Party, because the Democrats are in all 72 counties, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's Democrats everywhere, and I would really encourage folks to first reach out to their county party. And if you're having difficulty reaching them, some people are on different wavelengths when it comes to responsiveness through different means. You can also reach out to your congressional district chair. We also have those in every single congressional district in the state, and they can help provide a little nudge, in case that email inbox wasn't checked recently or something like that. You can also get involved with the neighborhood team if you go to mobilize.us/WISDEMS, WISDEMS. You can find organizing events near you. We have over 270 neighborhood teams across this state, in addition to our county parties that are organized locally to help take action and communicate on the issues that voters care about. I will just say on sort of an editorial note as well, it can feel lonely being in a red area. You can feel totally surrounded. Heck, even in places that are purple, it sometimes feels like Republicans are on surround sound. It's on social media. We have the sort of right-wing media ecosystem that we talked about earlier. There's signs, there's hats. It feels like you're outnumbered. Oftentimes, I think that there are more Democrats than folks may realize around them. If a county is voting 70% Republican, that still means 30% of that is Democratic, right? And trying to build community, reaching out to your neighbors and making that dot a little bit brighter blue is incredibly important work. And I think that sometimes I had this own experience where I live outside of Reedsburg, Wisconsin, township of Excelsior to be specific, and we put out a Susan Crawford yard sign recently in the Supreme Court election. And one of our neighbors stopped my wife as she was walking our dogs and said, "Hey, it's brave of you to do that. Just so you know, I'm a Democrat. And so is that person 3 doors down. So is that person." And before we knew it, we had kind of power mapped the neighborhood a little bit. And I think that, reaching out to folks and just like we did after that, of having conversations and trying to plug them in and get them involved and put the sign out the next time can help show people that Democrats are everywhere and you have nothing to be afraid of because you are on the right side of history fighting for people.
That's so important, though, Devin, that folks realize that you are not completely alone. It might feel that way, but there are quiet Democrats. I think there are quieter Democrats than there are Republicans in some of these 72 counties. And as you said, a good starting point, just look for the Democratic Party of your county. Start there. Or find some other group. When I drive around, I was running for groceries yesterday, and there are little groups I see in Wauwatosa, Protect Democracy. It's just little groups like that. Maybe that's something that would interest you, so you don't feel so hopeless and helpless.
Exactly. And, while you're on Mobilize, there's not just events from the Democratic Party available there. There are events from groups of all sorts and stripes. Get involved. And, part of the 72 county strategy that I talked about is also figuring out ways that we can partner with those groups to talk about the issues that people care most about and reach out to folks ahead of the upcoming election. And I think that there are so many people that are getting involved. During the chair campaign, we were doing a lot of county party visits, congressional district committee visits, and at almost every single county party without fail, there would be someone that walked in the door, had never been involved before, and asked how they could sign up to be a member. I was in Washera County in, I believe, April, and I had that exact experience, which, is a county that historically has been quite red, very rural. And there in Wild Rose, they have an office year-round right on the main drag, and having that presence so that folks knew when they finally had enough, when they were fed up and ready to do something, they knew exactly where to go. That's the ticket, and we want to make sure that county parties have the infrastructure and the ability to do that year-round statewide.
The mobilize.us/wisdems will be in the show notes. So if you want to check that out, folks, you can go to civicmedia.us/shows. Look for Matenaer On Air, and you can find that link in the show notes. Also, I just really quick before we get out of here, I just want to share a story. We were up in, we did a tour this past week, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Time's a construct. Yeah. And we were in Hayward, and a gentleman who, by all accounts, we would always assume looked like a guy who didn't agree with anything we said, period. Just didn't look like it at all. And he came up to us, said, "My name is Steve. I'm a big fan." Gave us a small thumbs up. He goes, "You're doing a good job." And then he walked away. And I think that's important for us to know that, to what we're doing as Civic Media, that he doesn't feel alone, and he hopefully has friends he can talk to and share and build that energy that you're talking about. Moving, I don't even want to say, I mean, I'm sure you want to say more left, but like to the right side of history, to a better, fairer Wisconsin for all people. And I'll never forget Steve from Hayward for the rest of my life. It was a wonderful thing to see.
Devin Remaker is the new chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. If you would like to get involved, as Greg said, we will include all the links in our show notes. All you have to do is go to civicmedia.us. Take heart. You are not alone. Right, Devin?
Absolutely. We are going to build community. We are going to win back the trust of voters, and we're going to win big in 2026. Thank you all. And I think as is the work that you've done to help build that community, especially for folks that may not have that many folks around them physically, being able to sort of hear from folks around the state, different perspectives, different issues, it really helps. And I think that is what folks need right now is a little bit of hope. And I am confident we can make big change in 2026.
Devin Remaker, the chair of Wisconsin Democrats, thank you so very, very much for your time. Would love to have you back on when you're available. We have news coming up next. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, resident young person Calvin on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on a live stream. Hello, live streamers.
Hi,
on
live streamers.
Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up in just a little bit, around 10:51 to 3-ish. We'll wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the extra padding edition. I would encourage you to stick around for that. On Friday, well, actually, this is the time of the show that we call Audio Sorbet.
You know, just kind of
lighten things up.
Audio Sorbet. We clean your ears with fun.
We need an open for that. We clean your ears with fun. Yes, where we just try to get away from the news a little bit. We talk about a lot of news because it's important. It's not like we don't appreciate that things are, well,
always on fire.
Always on fire, frequently on fire. We know that. But I still also, we believe that it is important to laugh.
Yes.
And just take a breath and get away from it for a little bit. So that's why we do Audio Sorbet to wrap up the last half an hour of the show. And on Friday, we were talking about my adventure in parking lots. Last week, all the hosts across Civic Media met in Madison for our annual meeting. And after our meeting was over, there's a parking ramp attached to our building, to our office there in Madison.
Yeah.
And I wandered around for 40 minutes because I could not find my car.
Yeah.
And remember Wednesday, it was super hot, super, super hot.
And when it's super hot inside a parking garage that's concrete, that's just radiating heat.
It was so hot in there, and I was drenched. I'm just drenched. And finally, right before I texted you, I thought, I'm just going to sit down here and melt into a puddle and cry, and I'll just be here forever. I'll be here alone forever. Ultimately, obviously, I did find my car.
Update, folks. She found her car, and she's here today.
But we were taking your calls about similar situations. Other folks have done this.
Yeah.
Lost in a parking lot. Can't find your car at a concert. Had a great one from Alpine Valley.
Oh, my God. Just
wandering for several days looking for their car.
If you can't find your car at Alpine now just owns your car.
Pretty much.
It's just...
They're just going to look for it on a used car lot somewhere, and that's where it's going to show up.
I was going to say, I'm really surprised there just isn't like a secret, like, hey, come to this is the secret dump ground for Alpine cars.
But we got this right after we got off the air on Friday, and it made me laugh so hard. It's like, we need to include this.
Yeah.
So we have a little follow-up from Friday's Audio Sorbet. Here we go. I'm a trucker. I was parked at a service plaza in Ohio. The highway was closed due to a blizzard. I went inside for some food. When I came back out to my truck, the darn key wouldn't work.
Darn it.
Darn it. After several tries and much, much frustration, the window opens. A guy leans out and says, "Try the truck in front of this one." It was the wrong truck. It was the same company truck, same model and color of truck, the wrong truck. So they're standing in front of this truck with the key fob going click, 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 and it's not opening and not opening. And finally, the guy in the truck opens the window and says, "Yeah, you're trying to open the wrong car."
You know what I enjoy about that story? Besides the Jane Matenaer copyrighted laughter right there, trademark. Is the fact that the guy in the truck just sat there and let it happen for a while.
So long.
He was just like, "Who's this guy? What's he doing?
I'm just going to let it go for a little bit.
Let's see how long this lasts." Right. And then finally he just says to himself, "Okay, this is embarrassing. Hey.
I'm going to help you out."
Now so I had said last week that I've never really lost my car. I don't. There's no stories that stand out. There are times where I thought I parked in a certain spot, and it's my car's not there,
and you thought it was stolen.
I thought it was stolen, and my car is 2 spots over. I just forgot where I parked, so I didn't lose it in the parking garage. I just didn't turn to my left.
But it's that panic.
It's that initial panic. But trying to get into a car that I think is mine. Oh, the amount of times I have done that is shockingly large and very embarrassing.
That was from Marge. I want to thank you, Margie, for sending that in. That was so funny.
Yeah, that was great.
And I'm sure, Margie, you are not alone. I'm sure there are other people who have thought, this is my car. It's covered in snow, but I know it's my car.
Yeah.
And then it's not.
It's not your car. And that's just another way to, and thank you for emailing us. If you ever have these stories, you can send it to janesays@civicmedia.us, whether it's a Tisbat suggestion, a guest suggestion, a segment suggestion, what's ever going on. If you want us to know about it, tell us, janesays@civicmedia.us. And we thank you for getting in touch with us.
And you can always join us if you have a story you would like to share at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Another reminder as well to make sure you download the Civic Media app.
Mm-hmm.
Because every Friday is Free Ticket Fridays, and we want to congratulate Jim from Brookfield.
Yes.
They picked up, Jim and his wife, I believe, picked up those tickets for this Wednesday's game at AmFam Field. Crew hosting the Cubbies. It is going to be a really good game. But you have more chances coming up, but you have to have the Civic Media app.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's absolutely free. Any other stories about losing your vehicles in parking lots at 855? What are you looking? 855-752-4842. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because we're bringing this. I mean, I know you had the addendum and everything, but I'm just like, Jane, did you lose your car again this weekend?
I did not.
Okay. All right. That's great. I just wanted to make sure that you need cars.
You think I would tell you now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you would. I would expect this. I would expect a text message saying, guess what? ... And I'd be like, you lost your car again, didn't you? And she's like, I now live in Kewaskum.
Can you come and get me?
Well, that was the thing.
Come and pick me up.
That was the thing, too, is you sent me that text message. I couldn't find my car. Now, here, I'll give some more context to the story.
Okay.
The parking garage, while you and Shali have designed it as a labyrinth of terror with automobile storage, it's not that big.
It's what, 5 levels?
It's 5 levels, and it's not like gigantic, like large, wide. It's not like it's not
airport.
Like
it's not an airport parking lot.
It's
garage.
rather, I believe, rather navigable. But when you sent that to me, my first instinct was, you can't find your car. I'll give it like 5 minutes. I'm sure you're going to find it. And then you sent me another text message saying, I still can't find it. So I said, do you want me to come help you look? Because I was at the comedy club on State. Shout out to the club on State. We share the same building as HQ at Civic Media.
Right.
So I was like, it wasn't
because I knew you were there.
Yeah, it wasn't a long walk for me at all. So I said, do you want me to come help you? And you said yes. And I thought to myself, all right, I'm going to go upstairs, made sure I cleared it with the club to make sure I wouldn't miss my spot. And then as I'm walking up there, I'm like, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to walk through the door and she's going to say, I found my car. And what happened when I walked through the door of the parking garage? I found it.
Well, and why would you? What I wanted you to do, we would have jumped in your vehicle.
Yeah. You think I'm giving up that prime spot that I had? No.
Well, I don't need you to walk around with me to find my car. I needed you to drive me around to find my car.
With my nice air conditioning?
Yes, exactly. And then I could use my key fob on every level, going past every single car, hoping I was going to hit the right one.
Do you know what that looks like from maybe a cop's perspective?
Do I care?
Oh, wow.
At this point?
Wow. And the other thing, too, is I said, I was going to walk into the parking garage and just yell your name to see where you're at. And then I realized that a man who, by the way, folks, if you've never seen me, I look like every police sketch drawing.
You are a large bearded man.
A large, long hair, bearded man.
Yes.
And walking into a parking garage at night in the dark, just screaming a woman's name, probably not the best move for me either. So I just was hoping against hope that the angels of car findom would find your car. And they did. And they did.
They came through for me in the end.
Yeah.
For which I am eternally grateful. But Margie made me feel better.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone.
Because sometimes you feel like that. I'm the only one. I'm the only idiot who's ever done this.
Hey. You're not an idiot. You just forgot. Don't do that. That's not nice. That's not nice. Jane?
I've forgiven myself.
Oh, there we go. Oh, man.
Sort of.
Okay. All right.
But you know how it's like when you walk into the room and you forgot what you were doing, what you were looking for?
Okay. We could talk about that for 40 minutes. Like,
because when you get to be my age, everything is like, oh my God, that's Alzheimer's. Yeah. Every time I forget something or why I walked into a room, it's like, oh my God, that's the early sign.
Yeah. And that's the thing is there are so many times where I walk into a room and I'll say, I came in here for a reason. And then what I'll do is I'll walk out of the room and try to walk and walk back into it thinking
does that help?
No, it really never does.
Reset?
No, it never helps. Contrary to popular belief, I am not a robot, which I can just, rewind my programming and say, what was I thinking about 45 seconds ago when I thought to myself, hey, grapes sound really good right now.
I love that you go back in thinking that's going to do it for you.
Of course I do. Or I put my fingers to my temple and try to think it out of my...
Because you're going to squish it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Squeeze it.
I mean, I am truly my mother's son. I have gone in the house no less than 4 times after going into the car, I go in the car, it's time to go. I forgot this thing. I forgot this thing. And when you get to the 3rd to 4th, you start to feel bad.
Right?
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of self-judgment coming out there.
It feels like you need to take a breath and just say, all right, start writing things down.
Calvin, you are a resident young person. I'll let you you'll have the final word on this. Do you ever walk into a room and forgot why you were going in there?
Probably more than is reasonable for someone my age. Yeah, it definitely happens. So one thing as far as forgetfulness that and this probably isn't a good example because it's as I'm falling asleep, but I'll be like thinking of like a story or explaining, like thinking of something in my head, and I'll just like forget almost like where you forget what you were going to say, but it was in your head. And then I'm like, okay, well now it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I can no longer follow my own thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not listening to me right now. I have to go to bed. Yeah, I've been there too. I've had where you take some NyQuil. You take some NyQuil because you're not feeling good, or because you just want to sleep desperately. And NyQuil has that thing where it just starts intermittently shutting your brain down. Where you're like watching television, like, all right, cool. Okay, maybe I should go. Okay, I should go to. All right,
now it's time.
Yeah, it's time to go to bed now. It's time. I'm sputtering.
Should you ever have an idea for an audio sorbet, say you've lost something.
Mm-hmm. Like your mind.
You can always email that to us at janesays@civicmedia.us. JANESAYS. Jane says at civicmedia.us. Coming up, we will wrap up the show with This Shouldn't Be a Thing, extra padding edition. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Hello, live streamers on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up, news, followed by Tom Hartman, 11 to 2. Our friend and colleague Todd Alba, 2 to 4. Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6. And Pete Schwaba with Nightlight from 6 to 8 p.m.
I'm on Nightlight this week.
Are you? What night?
7 o'clock at 7:20.
Which night?
Thursday.
Oh,
Sorry.
Thursday. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm very tired. I mowed the lawn yesterday. I'm barely awake right now. Thursday, 7:20. I will be on Nightlight with Pete Schwab. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's always a great time.
It is a lot of fun. I think I'm going to be on in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about hate watching. There's something on HBO that I can't not watch because I hate it. I can't.
And
stop.
I know exactly what it is.
I know you do.
I referenced it this weekend to Bridget when I was talking to her about this specific show. What show do you ask? Well, you're just going to have to wait until Jane is on Nightlight with Pete Schwab.
Pete Schwab should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Coming up on our show tomorrow, Pat Kreitlow from Mornings with Pat Kreitlow will be joining us after 9:35. We will break down what's going on in Wisconsin. Always lots of things happening. Right now, though, it is 10:54 Kelvin. That means it's time for...
This shouldn't be a thing.
As always, if you find a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us. This is from CBS News. Carrie Breen with the byline. The headline reads, Florida woman caught trying to carry turtles through airport security in her bra. Don't do this. A Florida woman was caught hiding 2 turtles in her bra while passing through TSA at the Miami International Airport last week. The woman has yet to be identified. She had the turtles wrapped in what appeared to be gauze and plastic wrap.
Oh, my God.
The TSA did not identify the breed of turtles. One of them died.
Oh.
Well, you can't wrap them in plastic. He doesn't breathe. It's called breathing. One turtle died. The surviving turtle turned over to the Florida Department of Fish and Wildlife. This is the important part.
Yeah.
TSA said on social media, quote, friends, please, and we cannot emphasize this enough. Stop hiding animals in weird places on your body and then trying to sneak them through airport security, unquote.
I believe that, well, yes, a very, very diplomatic tweet, the answer is, the response is good. I feel like, quote, and we cannot emphasize this enough, unquote, is their way of saying something very non-FCC compliant. Just like, and the amount of like friends, please. And we can't emphasize this enough. Like, there's so much rage and fist clenching
in that little phrase.
Oh my gosh, it does that. There's a lot of emotion in that phrase.
I think this is something we could all abide by. Stop hiding animals in weird places on our bodies and trying to get them through airport security. I think we should put that on a shirt.
And I don't think we need to worry about identifying this woman. We already have Florida woman. Enough said.
Right. The TSA, by the way, does allow travelers to bring pets, including turtles, through security checkpoints. You do have to remove your turtle from any carriers and then carry it through the checkpoint. The carrying case does have to be x-rayed as well. Other airlines may have different pet policies. TSA says, notice we say carried, not hidden underneath your clothing.
It's all carrying to me. I don't know why the Florida lady sounded like that in my head, but she did. But yeah, and it's really a bummer that one of them died because of this too. I don't mean to bring it down, but
can we not do this?
Yeah, there are websites. They have the information you need. on how to transfer.
Yes.
Yeah.
If this is your emotional security,
Yes.
emotional backup turtle.
Yeah. This is my emotional turtle.
This is my emotional support
backup turtle.
You can bring them through. You don't have to wrap them up in plastic.
Yeah, that is just
don't do that.
That's a bad move. Don't we
do
cannot
that.
stress this enough. We cannot emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
Please don't do this.
TSA might be a pain in the neck for all of us, but in this instance, I would like to think we could all agree.
These are the moments where I really actually have a lot of sympathy, empathy, and love for TSA because I've never seen anything like this in line. I've seen some attitude. I've seen some objects. I've seen things happen, but I have never seen turtles wrapped in plastic and gauze
in a bra.
And that's not something you sign up for when you're like, I'm going to work for the TSA.
Yeah. One more time, just to share this quote.
Yes.
Friends, please, and we cannot emphasize this enough. Stop hiding animals in weird places on your body and trying to sneak them through airport security, unquote. A lesson to live by.
Never thought I'd have to say that out loud.
I didn't have to. That wraps up today's episode of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin and all of our engineers. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening and for watching on the stream. It really does mean the world. And I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit and you get the chance to share it. Keep it right here. News coming up next on the vast, statewide, countrywide. Listen to us globally on the app, the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll see you tomorrow.